Hey, it's Kira here, Get Your Vibe Right. Let's talk about your ego. Oh my gosh, the ego, right? The constant struggle. So here, I like to do a lot of work around goal setting. I really like to help people understand how to achieve their goals. And oh my gosh, does the ego play a huge role in this, right? We all know it to be true. But when we are in our ego around a goal, we tend to be focused on the result of that goal, meaning that we want the payoff. Like the ego is really invested in the win, right? It's so invested in the win. We want all the good feels. We want that big paycheck. We want the recognition, the validation. We want whatever it is, the end result that is going to come from getting that goal. And the ego gets very, very invested in that. And what happens from a law of attraction standpoint is that we are pulled into the future. We're no longer living in the moment when all we're doing is focusing on the result of the goal. Now, focusing on that for certain snippets of time where we're using that visualization and we're communicating with the universe, the law of attraction, what we want, and we're indicating to the universe what we want, that is a positive way to be using this future vision that we have. But the ego gets in there. It gets in there and it gets a hold of that and it gets attached to all of that thing, like the validation, the recognition, the payoff, the win. And those things are all good, but we get too attached to them maybe, and we're no longer in the present moment. And the present moment is where the action happens that brings about the goal. So once we can set aside our attachment to the outcome, we become more present for the journey. And you guys have heard this tons of times, right? It's not about the end, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And that's really true. The ego is invested in the destination. The spirit is invested in the journey. It's being present in the moment. It's appreciating the path we have to take to get there. It's investing in the now rather than sitting around in anticipation of the then. And so this is how we can move away from ego and even spirit when we're doing the visualization of what we want as a way to communicate to the universe what we want the outcome to look like through a lot of intention, sitting down, setting that time aside. That's actually spirit doing the work. Spirit is simply communicating at that point with the universe. It's not the ego sitting down and dwelling on the payoff that's coming. So instead of staying so far out with our mind, bringing it back to the present, focusing on those small steps that are going to get us there and appreciating the journey along the way is really how you get to your goal. We all know that sitting around and just visualizing it without taking any action never puts the car in the driveway, doesn't put the dollars in the bank, doesn't bring the person to the door that you want to have some romance with, right? It's really, we have to take the action, but we want that to be inspired action. And inspired action is where the universe communicates back to us through spirit and says, I got it, I get it. I know what you want. I know how to get you there. Do this. Take this action. Go out and be at this place at that time. These are our little intuition. These are the little nudges that the universe gives us. That is taking inspired action. If there's no action, there is no result. So instead of grinding away through the ego, forcing something to happen, when we remain in spirit, and we use it in two ways, we use it to be in the present moment, except for those times when we're setting aside time to visualize and communicate to the universe what we want, then we end up enjoying the journey and getting the destination. So that's just a little bit about how to keep the ego out of your achievement and still get exactly what you want, co-creating with the universe and making sure that you are leveraging the law of attraction.